Welcome to our next discussion on Sophocles' play Electra. In the previous discussion, I discussed Chrysosthemis' dialogues with Electra and how Chrysosthemis tries to dissuade Electra from continuing this course of lamentation and resolution of revenge against the culprits. At the end of that discussion, I assigned you the task of writing in detail on Sophocles' representation of female characters in the play. I hope all of you are working on it. In today's sitting, I'll be commenting on the next sections of the play. So Chrysosthemis' exit is followed by a choral ode. And in this ode, the chorus women talk about 3 points. First of all, they express their hopefulness about the arrival of justice. They expect that although Agamemnon's murder has gone unavenged for all these years, now there are signifiers implying that now justice is on its way. Secondly, they hint at the hateful and sinful relationship between Aegisthus and Clytemnestra. This is sinful because when Clytemnestra developed relationship with Aegisthus, she was already married to Agamemnon. So this was an extramarital relationship. Third, they talk about how this house of Atreus is still under the curse. These people, this family, has already seen and experienced a cycle of murder and revenge for the last few generations, and the chorus can anticipate the continuation of this curse even in this generation. Agamemnon is murdered, and now they can see his revenge being taken by someone. Next, we have a very important episode in this play, and this is interaction between Clytemnestra and Electra. After the choral ode, this is the first time Clytemnestra appears on stage in this play, and her interaction with Electra helps us understand the major conflict better, and even the relationship between mother and daughter. In her dialogues, Clytemnestra quite frankly and without fear confesses Agamemnon's murder. But then she justifies her act by talking in detail about her true motive of Agamemnon's murder. She does not hesitate to name herself as the murderer. See, in the play, nowhere do we find a single reference about identity of the killer. The chorus: Chrysothemis, Electra, Clytemnestra, Aegisthus, all the characters know full well that it is Clytemnestra who murdered Agamemnon in collaboration with Aegisthus. Even Clytemnestra herself does not hide this crime, does not deny this, but she is so confident of justifiability of this act that she openly talks about it and how she thinks she was justified in murdering this man. So while talking about her prime motive driving her to perform a very horrible act of murdering her husband, the king of Argos, and at that time victorious hero coming from the Trojan War. And for her, the root cause was her realization of how mercilessly Agamemnon murdered her daughter. Here Clytemnestra talks about the childbirth pain that a mother suffers while giving birth. She is of the view that Agamemnon did not hesitate. His hands did not shake while murdering her daughter, because it was not he but Clytemnestra herself who had borne all the pains of birth while bearing Iphigenia. So as a mother, when she received the news of this brutal murder of her daughter, she resolved to take her revenge. So this merciless killing of her innocent daughter motivated her to make the doer suffer. Now she actually explains Agamemnon's situation in order to put all the blame on Agamemnon for killing Iphigenia. Her viewpoint is that by killing Iphigenia, Agamemnon was actually trying to save his brother and his soldiers. They were more important for him than his own daughter. Now, this point needs to be understood very well. From Clytemnestra's point of view, Trojan War was being fought to retrieve Helen, who was Menelaus' wife. So when the goddess Artemis demanded sacrifice, Menelaus should have slaughtered one of his children, but instead, probably Agamemnon believed in his bravery more than Menelaus. Now if we consider this interpretation of Clytemnestra, probably Agamemnon preferred to kill his own daughter because he thought he could control his nerves after killing his own daughter as a warrior, he was too sure of himself to control himself. Instead of wasting away in the torture of his young daughter's death, that he thought it would not weaken him. In comparison, Menelaus might have felt the pain and torture of murder of his own children more than Agamemnon. Simply speaking, let me try to put it another way, it is a little confusing. Clytemnestra says that on principle, since Menelaus' wife had been abducted or slipped away with her lover, Menelaus should have been asked to make this sacrifice, because the root of the Trojan War was his wife, not Agamemnon or any of his family members, his wife, let's say. But instead, Agamemnon thought himself braver than Menelaus, murdered his own daughter, and then continued on this journey, fought this war, defeated the enemies, and then came back victorious. So Clytemnestra says that this man actually spared his own brother pain and suffering and protected his own soldier at the cost of his own daughter. So she actually interprets this act of Agamemnon as merciless and willful murdering of his young daughter. He could choose to ask Menelaus to obey the command of Artemis and sacrifice one of his children. And even it appears from Clytemnestra's interpretation that for Agamemnon what was most important was winning this war against the Trojans. So this young child and her life had no significant meaning in the eyes of Agamemnon. That is why she was murdered without a second thought. So this act of Agamemnon, merciless killing of Iphigenia for the sake of his brother and his soldiers, repelled Clytemnestra, and she determined to take her daughter's revenge against this cruel man. And that is why she did what she did. But here, as we have discussed in the beginning of this play, in its introduction, that Sophocles, Euripides and Aeschylus, three great Greek tragedians, have dramatized this story. And I told you that I'll be talking about the significant differences in their plays from time to time during my analysis of the text. Here, one thing that we find stylistically different in Sophocles from Aeschylus' play that we have already gone through. Sophocles makes no mention of Cassandra. You remember the princes of Troy and their prophetess, who was captured by Agamemnon and taken as his concubine, a woman with whom he was legally allowed to have sexual relationship. And in Aeschylus' play that we have already seen, Agamemnon, Clytemnestra does talk about Cassandra and Agamemnon's physical relationship. But here in this play, Sophocles does not mention Clytemnestra's jealousy of Cassandra and how it might have repelled her even more against Agamemnon. So this theme of male and female lust, which can be seen in two relationships in the play, in Agamemnon's relationship with Cassandra as we have seen in the previous play, and here Clytemnestra's relationship with Aegisthus. So these two relations, since they were not marital, they are considered a manifestation of male and female lust. Clytemnestra was seduced by Aegisthus for this physical relationship. But Sophocles actually allows Clytemnestra to make Iphigenia's claim as the prime and sole motive of her murder of Agamemnon. And on the basis of this, Clytemnestra finds herself quite justified legally and morally. She murdered Agamemnon in response to his murder of Iphigenia. So this was murder for murder. She has no qualms and doubts about having done anything wrong. Next we have Electra's speech, in which she comments on Clytemnestra's dialogues and her version of Agamemnon's story. First of all, she, through bitter comments, tries to make her mother feel ashamed of the adulterous relationship with Aegisthus and then his father's murder. And Electra actually justifies Agamemnon's act of Iphigenia's murder, arguing that Agamemnon was actually under compulsion. He had no choice. He was bound to follow the orders of the goddess Artemis. He did not do it willingly or happily, and he actually found himself with no other option available. He was out with his soldiers on this great campaign to protect the honor of the people of Greeks. So he could not imagine coming back without fighting and defeating the enemies and taking the abducted Helen back. So he, under the circumstances, unwillingly chose to kill Iphigenia to secure favorable winds for his sail so that they may travel to Troy and fight this war. At the same time, she refuses to accept Clytemnestra's excuse and charges him with another crime. One thing that Clytemnestra actually overlooks in what happened in the past. From Electra's viewpoint, Iphigenia's murder by Agamemnon was not the prime reason persuading Clytemnestra to murder Agamemnon. Rather, it was her extramarital illicit relationship with Aegisthus. Before Agamemnon's return, she was already seduced by Aegisthus. Since she had taken this new lover and she was quite fond of him, in order to save this union with her lover, she killed her husband. So from Electra's perspective, this was actually a wife's betrayal against her husband, and it has nothing to do with Iphigenia's murder. From Electra's interpretation, it seems, and this is what she believes, Clytemnestra actually uses Iphigenia's murder as a cover to hide herself behind a socially acceptable and morally justifiable act, murder for murder. And by portraying Iphigenia's murder as the prime cause, she finds herself justified. She satisfies her conscience and does not actually feel about the true reason of her hatred for Agamemnon, which was her fondness of Aegisthus. So in the play, she says very clearly, let's talk facts. There was only one reason you killed him. You were seduced by that creature you live with. So she believes that Clytemnestra actually murdered Agamemnon not for Iphigenia but to ensure her relationship with Aegisthus, to save herself against Agamemnon. If he would find out, he might have murdered Clytemnestra. But before that, before he would settle down and receive the rumors which are already traveling in the Argus, as we see in the very first ode of the chorus, there are references that some evil things are being committed in the city in the absence of the king, although there is no direct reference found. So Electra says that the actual reason was her seduction by Aegisthus, and Iphigenia's murder is being manipulated by Clytemnestra to justify herself in the eyes of the people. So this is how mother and daughter exchange dialogues on the major conflict of the story. We'll continue with our analysis of this interaction between mother and daughter in our next discussion. For the time being, I hope you will study your play very well, relate all these ideas I'm discussing, develop a better understanding of the play, and then at the same time write your assignment and submit it to me as soon as possible. Thank you very much.